Hi, I'm Stewart from the Norfolk Honey Company, and welcome back to our hillside allotments apiary, where we've got a mixture of national and commercial beehives, and we're going to carry out a couple of inspections here today, and so we thought that it would be quite nice to post the video on YouTube. So we've just actually been called across to deal with a swarm which is likely to have come from one of the colonies here. It looks as if we've probably lost a swarm, but we were able to collect that and put it into a nuke box. And if you'd like to see the video of that and us collecting the swarm, then pop over to our Patreon page, which is patreon.com/Norfolk Honey, and you can take a look at the video there by signing up to one of our reward tiers. If you're not familiar with our Patreon page, pop over and take a look at it. It's a support group where you can support us from as little as $1, and in return you have early release videos, additional videos, podcasts. We've also got photographs of us out and about doing all of our beekeeping, and generally early access to all of the content that we tend to post. So we're going to take a look at a double national hive here. It's possible that that's the colony that has swarmed. They were growing quite large last week. We didn't see any queen cells, but it's possible that they might have swarmed. So we're going to take a look at those first, and we've actually got some nuke boxes here that we can use to split them down into if we need to. So we'll get the camera over to the first hive and we'll take a look. So this is our national with a double brood. Just going to give them a little smoke. Now what's actually happened here, although you can't see it from the camera's position, is that the open mesh floor, the varroa floor, has actually dropped away at the back, which means they've now got two entrances, one at the front, which is the proper entrance, and then one at the back where the floor has fallen down and they can gain exit and access to the floor there. So we'll have to have a look at dealing with that at some point. So it's possible that this one may have swarmed. We'll have a look. They were doing quite nicely last week. Just a little bit of smoke. So we're going to lift the top box off first and pop that down onto the roof so that we can inspect the bottom box first. And because this is quite low, I'm going to make myself comfortable and just kneel. So we've actually still got quite a few bees in here. That's my mobile phone going off. So the main purpose of checking this colony now is to see whether or not they've got any eggs, and whether or not we perhaps will see the queen. But queen cells will be a sure indicator. An absence of eggs and queen cells will be a good indicator that the colony has in fact swarmed. So here we've got a nice frame with brood and eggs in it, so I would say that probably this colony hasn't swarmed, so it's likely to be one of the other colonies that swarmed. But we'll carry on with the inspection, and I can just show you how I inspect a double brood box. So I always start in the bottom box, and what I'm looking at here is lots of brood. I'm just tilting the frame to catch the sunlight so that the sun shines into the cells, and already I can see eggs, so I'm pretty certain that this colony hasn't in fact swarmed. So, which is good news. That's you know, we don't particularly want this large colony to swarm because we're going to use it to produce several nukes from, using the on-the-spot method which is a method that some of you have asked me to demonstrate. So we thought we'd give that a go today. So this frame, I don't know whether you can pick out the pollen that's been stored in this particular frame. We've got lots of pollen. If I just shake off the bees and turn it round, maybe we can pick up on the pollen. So the bees are out collecting and doing really well in bringing back stores. And then this final frame looks to be just some stores. So not much happening in that one. So we'll just push the frames back so that they're all nicely positioned. This end frame can go back in. We would normally have a dummy board or an additional frame in the bottom, but we haven't at the moment. And now I'm going to lift the top box back onto the bottom box. And just gently put it on at an angle. Slide it into place and then remove the crown board. Quick check on the underside of the crown board for the queen. She's not there. A little bit of smoke across the top, and then we can just ease out the end frame using the J tool. So it just goes under the end of the frame, and then we can just lift it out quite simply. And so this frame, the bees are starting to put stores in, so I'll pop that down in front of the hive, and then we'll just gradually work our way through to see what the bees are up to. This frame is just stores, so they're putting lots of nectar into that frame. Again, lots of nectar in this frame. More stores. And here we've got eggs and capped brood, and on the other side this frame has got lots of brood in all stages, so eggs all the way up to sealed brood, which is good. Again, another frame of sealed brood. There are some drone cells on this particular frame, just here at the bottom. And the bees look, the adult bees look nice and healthy. So it's looking good in this particular box. Again, lots more brood in all stages. Again, I'm just tilting it to the sunlight so that I can see what we've got in this particular frame, and it's looking really good. And the bees haven't required a great deal of smoke, so they're not too feisty. And again, lots of eggs have been laid in this frame. And so the reason I'm fairly confident that this colony hasn't swarmed is that there are no queen cells and we have eggs. And normally what happens is the bees will slim down the queen, so they'll starve the queen a little bit so that she's able to fly, and as a result she stops laying. So if they had swarmed recently, you would anticipate not seeing any eggs in the colony. And of course the other main telltale sign is that there would be queen cells, and we've not seen, not only have we not seen any queen cells, but we've not seen any rudimentary queen cups. And on this frame we've got the queen here just walking about at the bottom of the frame edge, so we know that the queen is here. So the process for on the spot queen rearing is that you remove the queen and you actually force the bees into producing queen cells. So what we need to do is to pop this queen into a nuke box so that she can happily sit in the apiary in another position, and then all of the bees in here will realise that they are queenless and they'll start producing queen cells. So I'm just going to grab the nuke box and we'll pop her into the nuke box. So we've got our queen on this frame. Let me just turn her round and point her out to you. So she's down at the bottom corner of this frame and she's just turning back and coming up the frame. So we're going to pop her into a nuke box. So she's going to sit in here, and then we're going to give her an additional frame of food stores. Just find one that has plenty of food. In fact, she's been so prolific that these have all got eggs and larvae in. So have a look at this frame that we took out first of all. So this is an ideal frame, and what we've got are cells that the queen can lay in. So she's got an area that she can lay in, but she's also got food stores that the bees have been putting away, because she's not going to have a lot of bees to be able to go away and forage, because all the flying bees are going to come back to this colony. So we'll pop this frame into this box as well. And then what I'm going to do is to just shake a couple of frames of bees into the box so that the queen has got bees with her. So we're just going to move her in the same apiary, and we're going to top this up with frames of foundation, but we'll just position her in another part of this apiary. So the next thing to do is to select some of the frames that have got very young larvae in, and we're just going to cut away the cell so that the bottom third is exposed so that they can produce a queen cell from it. So we'll just have a look at some of these frames. So it's important to select cells that have very young larvae in, so you want them to be ideally just a few hours old. And so the trick is to look for the smallest possible larvae that you can find. And so what I'm going to do is just tilt it to the light so I can see where the larvae are, and I'm going to select So I've selected some cells here, and I'm just going to use my hive tool to just break away the bottom edge of the cell, and that will give the bees some room to produce queen cells. And we're going to repeat this process on several of the frames in order to try and encourage the bees to produce some queen cells for us. So I'm just going to do one more frame and then we'll leave the others and see whether the bees naturally build queen cells from the other cells that haven't been ripped open, and we'll see just how well those queen cells actually form. So this is the last one. So I'm just pushing down and giving a little bit of room, and that's exposing the cells. So it's exposing these cells here so that the bees can produce queen cells from them. So the task now is to just close up the colony. These bees are now queenless, and we'll identify the fact that they're queenless very quickly. So this is hive number 32, but it's no longer hive number 32 because this number belongs to the old queen. So we're going to take this number and place it with the queen, and then we'll pop the roof on, and then we'll come back in 7 days. So I've kept my veil on because the bees are literally just across the way and they were getting a little bit fractious towards the end there. You can also see that I'm wearing my glasses, and this is a really important point for anyone who is beekeeping and actually wears glasses. I now require glasses for reading close up, and to be honest, I can't see eggs without my glasses on. So this is the first full season that I've needed the glasses to be able to see eggs. So it's no big problem. They are slipping a little bit, so I'm going to have to get one of those bands to put around my head, which will look very stunning, I'm sure. Anyway, so just to recap, we've taken the queen out of that colony. It's on a double brood, so we've got approximately 21, 22 frames in there at the moment, and now that they're queenless, they're going... We'll risk it. Now that they're queenless, they're going to produce queen cells without any doubt at all. The next fortnight, the conditions are going to be really good for us. It's going to be dry and sunny and warm. And so the old queen is now in a nuke box. She will gradually build up and produce a new colony of her own. And next week we're going to split this colony apart and we're going to take out all of the frames that have got queen cells and put them into individual nuke boxes. And so we're going to split it down so that we can perform an increase in the number of colonies that we've got. And if everything goes according to plan, we should hopefully have somewhere between 4, maybe 8 frames which have got queen cells on. So we should be able to develop some new colonies from now, which is early May, all the way through into the summer, and then we can overwinter them ready for next year. I hope you found that interesting. Don't forget to take a look at all of our social media, and don't forget to take a look at the swarm video, which is on our Patreon page, and I'll put all the links down in the description below. We're off to get a cold drink, and we'll catch up next time. Thanks for watching.